Welcome everyone, and welcome to J&B Live. I'm Broker J3,
Dr. B.
and we'd like to welcome you here today. All right, today we're going to get started. We want to talk about one of the trending topics that's going on right now today, and it's election season. So we know we've been hearing a lot of talk about what's going on with Trump and Vance and Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the topics that has really been really major that's going on right now is the turnout of men voting for women and also black men, especially younger black men, not wanting to vote for a woman, even a black woman, Kamala Harris. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, I would like to encourage all black men, if this is an issue, and according to the polls, it has been an issue. This is not something that we just created. If you decide not to vote for Kamala Harris or a woman, just make sure you vote. It's very important that you vote because our ancestors died for our rights to vote. So I think it's important that no matter who you decide to vote for, that you decide to get out there and vote.
So, Doc B, tell me, what do you think is one of the reasons why a lot of men in general don't want to vote for a woman?
I think it may have something to do with the possibility of maybe how some men were brought up. Maybe they didn't see a woman in a leadership role. But for me, there were a lot of my grandmother, a lot of people in my family, my mother, my grandmother, my aunts that were all very good leaders. So for me personally, I don't have a problem with voting for a woman, particularly a black woman. Broker J3, how do you feel about that topic since you are a black man?
Well, I agree with you. I grew up with a very strong black woman in my household, which was my mother, of course, and my grandmother and my aunts. They was all strong black women. So, they brought a certain kind of reverence, that made you want to give them that kind of respect, very disciplined. Mm-hmm. As far as voting for a woman, I personally don't think that I would have an issue with that, personally myself. But I kind of, in a way, I kind of do see why some men probably would feel like they don't want to vote for a woman because that maybe it could be that testosterone male thing going on where I don't want a woman telling me what to do type situation. Maybe that could be one of the reasons why maybe some men probably feel like they don't want a woman running the country. You know what they say, a lot of women are very emotional. What if she gets so emotional, get mad and make a crazy decision in the White House?
Well, I'm glad you brought that to my attention, but I want to remind all men that their mothers, their aunts, their grandmothers are women. So did you not see them as leaders, even though they may have been emotional at times? Do you not see why they could not make good decisions, even if they were emotional?
Well, we all was brought in this world by a woman.
Yes.
So I personally believe that women can make great decisions, and actually, even before my mom remarried, she raised 3 boys by herself, and she did an excellent job. So I don't doubt that a woman can take on that role at all. But like I said, as far as what we're seeing and what the polls are suggesting, mm-hmm. a lot of men are having that issue. Let's go back to Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. She was definitely more qualified to take the position yes. of running the country. She had been in politics, mm-hmm. Especially with her husband being the president. But at the same time, a lot of people was having that issue about, especially the first woman running this country. Now, we all know that there are women running other countries and doing a yes. great job. But here in America, we can almost say it's a man's world.
Yes. And a lot of men have called out President Obama, our former president, on being, actually just calling out black men for not voting or not wanting to vote for Kamala Harris. And so, what I would encourage the young black men is to maybe chime into President Obama's speech, which was phenomenal. Even Roland Martin has a YouTube video. Maybe watch that YouTube video and look at the options as far as voting for Kamala Harris versus Donald Trump. And you may not agree with everything that she believes in, her policies, but you at this point you have to weigh the options. Which one is better for our country? And that's where I am on the issue now. I encourage everyone to get out there and vote. I don't care who you vote for, just vote. But if you are going to, or if you are concerned about our country as a whole, like I said, review those policies for both Trump and Harris, and then make a decision based on what you found.
Okay, well, since we're talking about the voting and the two candidates, you hear a lot of people talking about, Kamala's been in the office as vice president for the last 4 years. And a lot of people look back to when Trump was in office. A lot of them say that, well, the economy was better. Of course, some can debate that, being that he came in, after Obama, left him actually a great economy to, follow up on. So what are your thoughts on the candidates? Because, you hear that talk, and as they say, Trump is gaining ground, especially with some of the men, in regards to, her
Yes.
already being in office.
Yes.
And, now
Yes.
she's saying she wants to do this and want to do that. But, what's going to be different, her being president as opposed to her being vice president under Joe Biden?
Yes, and she has said recently that it will be different once she becomes president. President Trump inherited a great economy from President Obama, which took him about 8 years to rebound. And so the economy was good when Trump was in office. A lot of people are saying they had more money in their pockets when Trump was in office. That may be the case, but that's because of the fact that President Obama left the economy in a great shape. Now, based on the economy versus some of the other issues, you have to weigh the issues and determine which one of the candidates has the best policies. And not just for you as a whole, you also have to think about what's going to be best for your children and your grandchildren, because there is talk and there is speculation that once Trump gets into office, he's not going to leave office. So that's something that you have to consider as well.
Wow, that's absolutely amazing. And also, for you guys out there, remember right now is early voting time.
Yes.
So in a lot of states, such as here in Georgia, they've already started early voting. So you don't have to wait till election day. You can go out there and vote right now. Go to your local polling station. A lot of the early voting locations are different
Yes.
from your actual polling location. So you may want to go check that out to find out exactly where you can go. It touches home in regards to when you think about this current election at hand. It doesn't matter, like Doc B said, who you want to vote for.
Yes.
Personally, I've already early voted and I've already locked my vote in. Of course, my vote, it's definitely my vote, and I like to keep that to myself. But for you guys out there, I hope that, like Doc B said, you actually take time to find out which one of the candidates will work best for you, your future, your kids. Look at all of their policies, listen to what they say, whether it's rhetoric or not, pay close attention, because I believe this election coming up is probably going to be one of the most important elections of our lifetime.
Yes.
What do you think?
I think it would be the most important election of our lifetime. And we want to know exactly what you guys are thinking. We welcome any comments about why black men may not be voting, why black men are voting, or choose to sit this election out, or just any comments that you have about the upcoming election.
Sounds great, Dr. B. I think that's definitely something that we'd like to hear from you guys. Again, please comment, share, and subscribe, and let us know what you think about this subject. You know, we have about a week and a half left of early voting. I think it's about maybe a week after that, it'll be election day. So we definitely like to hear from you before that time. So make sure you chime in and let us know. And now I think we should talk about one of our subjects, Dr. B, something that hits home with us outside of the trending topic. And that was empowering family dynamics. You know, maintaining a healthy relationship with your adult kids and even your grandkids.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, this can be a very tough question for me. I have 3 adult sons and 3 grandchildren, and I try to maintain a healthy relationship with with my children by giving them that space that they need, setting some boundaries, and I want to make sure that I respect their independence, because sometimes they often come to mom for suggestions. And I'll give them, tell them how I feel about certain situations or whatnot. But I do respect their decisions. If they decide to take my advice, they do. And if they don't, that's fine with me as well. But I do respect them as adults.
Well, what boundaries are you referring to when you say respect their boundaries or respect your boundaries?
Well, when I say boundaries is I don't overstep. In other words, once they've made decisions, they've decided to do this or to do that, I let it go. You know, sometimes as a mom, we're kind of nurturing. We want to know how they handled a certain situation. You know, if they did this, if they did that. But we can't do that. We have to just let it be and let them make their own decisions. Therefore, they are independent at this age. And so you want to make sure you maintain those boundaries and then just respect them as individuals and as adults.
Okay, I truly understand that. There are situations like, example, sometimes my adult children may give me a call and say, hey, Dad, and they may ask me something in regards to something that they're dealing with or something that they're going through for my own personal advice. Now, at the same time, I have to try not to be biased. I have to try not to put myself in that equation, but yet at the same time give them a good calculated answer in regards to what they're asking me. How do you feel about that when your adult kids come to you and ask you for advice and say the question that they ask you is something that you may be totally against, but yet at the same time, how do you handle that without putting your own personal thoughts into it?
Yes, that's a very good question. That's affected me several times before. And so for me, I would tell them to weigh their options. In other words, I wouldn't look at it as me being affected. I would look at it as them being affected, because they're asking for advice for themselves, not for me. So they have to weigh their options, and they have to do it very carefully. I'm the type of person, I do not like making decisions on a snap. I like to process everything, maybe think about it overnight, sleep on it, of course, and then make a decision the next day. Sometimes it may take me 2 or 3 days to make a decision, but the decision that I make is going to be thought out. It's not going to be something that I made a quick decision. I don't believe in that. And so when I give advice to my children, I tell them to make sure they weigh the odds, they process it, so that they make good decisions, good sound decisions.
I agree with you, except for those times when they are actually in a situation where they need an immediate answer. They need something to be able to go off of right then and there. They might be in that situation where they're going to make a decision, and before they make that decision, that's why they called you, because they wanted to make the right decision. How do you handle
Now
that?
that's a stickler. For me, that's never happened to me before. Thank God that's never happened. But still, in the same tone, I would still give them the same advice to weigh the odds, come up with the positives versus the negatives, and how it will affect them and how it will affect their children. And if they have the time to process it overnight, then they do. But if not, they have to make that decision at that particular time. So how would you um, tell them to handle a situation if they come to you and it has to be a quick decision?
Well, based off of what they ask me, I would immediately think about a situation that I may have been in that could be similar to their particular situation. I'll try to put myself in their shoes based off of what they told me, and I would tell them how I would respond to that. Of course, I would still do as you spoke about earlier and let them know, hey, you still weigh your options, even though this is some advice that I'm giving you right now. You may take this advice, maybe add it with what you're already thinking and kind of blend that together to make a better decision on what you're going to do.
Yeah. And another thing to that, I want to add that that's part of life. I haven't always made the right decision. My children will not always make the right decision, but you just make the best decision that you can based on the information that you have.
Right. And see, it's kind of amazing because that actually goes into another topic in regards to the same lines, and that's supporting your adult children without overstepping.
Yes.
So in that fact, a lot of us, as adults, we like to do whatever we can for our adult children, but at the same time, we have to be very cautious of how we help them, because sometimes we can tend to overstep, going back into those boundaries we were referring to earlier. What is your take on that?
Well, for some adults, they may help a little bit too much. Now, I help my children financially. I support them whenever they need support. If a car broke down, they need help with a vehicle or something like that, I'm going to support them, but I'm not going to serve as a crutch for them.
Okay.
I'm not going to enable bad behavior.
Okay.
Because we all know we have some children that sometimes some of them are hard-headed. They're not going to listen. They're going to do things their way. So sometimes they have to learn that mama's not going to always be there to bail you out. That you have to learn how to take care of yourself. And all of us want to live forever. I want to live forever, but that's not the case. That's not how the world was designed. So eventually they're going to have to learn how to take care of themselves. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I have a unique relationship with my kids, and in the same, I would do anything that I can for my kids, but at the same time, they talk about the tough love, because sometimes when you do too much for your children, sometimes you disable them from being able to make those decisions that they need to make.
Yes.
Like for me, I enjoy when my kids don't call me as much when they're making decisions, because that lets me know that they're making their own decisions.
Yes.
Now, true enough, sometimes they're going to give us a call because they need a little extra advice, or they may be dealing with a situation that they've never been in before. Like one of my daughters is soon to get married. So, then that's a major step in somebody's life when you're, joining with someone else. So, she may call me and ask me a question, because, dad's been married before. So, hey, dad, how do you feel about this? Or how do you go about this? And at the same time, again, I have to think about, hey, this is her. This is not me.
Yes.
This is her future, and that's where those times where you can't be biased to think about, hey, what went wrong in my marriage, or what went right. So you want to give her or him good advice, based off of situation more so than past experience.
Yes. But they may make mistakes as well, because you may have made mistakes. So that's a part of life, is making the mistakes, but you have to be able to learn from those mistakes. Yes.
Okay, guys. Just like to hear from you guys in regards to, trying to maintain a healthy relationship
Yes.
with your adult kids. We definitely want you guys to chime in. We always want to hear from you guys. This podcast is not about me and Doc B talking about our personal experiences. We like to hear about your experiences
Yes.
as well, so that we can broaden everybody's horizons, because there are so many people out there that are actually dealing with effective communication with their kids, or supporting their adult kids without overstepping and setting those boundaries and respecting their independence. These are things that's going on every day. So we definitely like to hear from you guys. Is like we always say, subscribe, like, and share
Yes.
the live, because we really, really want to spread this message to everybody. What do you think, Doc B?
Same thing. We want to hear from you. It's very important. I believe that knowledge is power, and when you know better, you do better. So, if you share your comments, that may help someone else. It may help us. We're all trying to grow, and we're all trying to learn so that we can become better versions of ourselves.
And again, we'd like to thank everybody for joining us. We definitely like to see you guys on the next live. We definitely like to talk about some of the topics that we discussed today. So we look forward to seeing you guys soon. I'm Broker J3.
Dr. B.
And we'd like to thank you for joining J&B Live. And let's talk about it.